Excuse me. If you hear noise, I have my little space heater on. I'm trying to get through the month of October without turning on my heater. Today's probably going to be the hardest day of the month, as it'll be a high of 61, which isn't that bad, but it's going to get down probably in the high 30s tonight. So we'll see. Now tomorrow, and then through the week, temperature's going to rise. I believe we're supposed to have 79 degrees, which is crazy in October. Crazy in the end of October. But hey, I'll take it. That means another day without using the heat. Seems that heating the house is actually more expensive than cooling it in the summertime. So we'll see what we can do. Little space heater certainly helps in a small room like my office here. So I was reading this morning. Oh, and by the way, thanks guys for the good thoughts, for the kind words for my name change on the channel. It has, and some other channels that I comment on, that I am, unfamiliar terms with the people. A lot of it being meditation channels, quite a few independent music channels, as I like to support lesser known artists or people who just, my channel is Yogi in his basement doing burpees, or the other way around, which is what I do. I consider myself a yogi, a homeowner, which, back in the day, that was considered the people in a spiritual pursuit who didn't join a monastery. The path of the homeowner. And that's sort of where I am. Monk-like, but not quite. Not in a monastery. And I'm in my basement, and I'm doing my burpees, or I'm in the room next door and I'm meditating, or I'm here and I'm writing. A lot of the people that I like to support, just a guy and a guitar, or just a girl and the guitar, or a home studio, doing their thing. Absolutely love when people do that. I absolutely love anyone who takes the time to pursue their artistic bent, whatever it is, when everything in life is trying to steer you in the opposite direction. You got to do this, you got to do that, you have to have this career, you have to do this to make a living, scrape by. There's no time for that kind of stuff. And yet, that's the only thing time is for. Really, we got things screwed up a bit. We're not supposed to make a living. We're supposed to express ourselves as life. No one does that better than a musician. And I don't care what type of musician you are. I don't care what type of music you're playing. I have my preferences, obviously. But if you're doing it, if you are making music, if you are making creative YouTube videos, if you are writing poetry, if you're writing fiction, if you're writing editorials, heck, if your thing is writing positive Amazon reviews, more power to you. If I can support you in it anyway, you just let me know. I will do my best. Basically, I've steered my entire life to try to do that. To be a writer, and to write the stuff that I feel called to write. Through my life, people have suggested, maybe if you want to be a writer, start here. Do some magazine articles, do this, do that. I'm just no good at it. I'm good at what I do, which is writing my own personal expression. I'm the best in the world at that, because no one else can have my own personal expression. If you were to write your personal expression, you would be the very best in the world at that as well. So, man, making your way as an artist, you have my admiration. I also know how hard it is. It's easier now than ever, I think. Heck, you can make a living off of YouTube if you probably no small amount of luck, but just keep plugging away. You get those numbers up, you keep sharing your stuff, something will happen. I've tried to do it in my blog. It hasn't been quite as successful as I had hoped it would be. I have a fairly good, fairly steady readership. It's just hard to, you got the ads and stuff up there. It's just hard to get those clicks. And I'm the same way. I don't want to click on an ad because then I'm going to see that crap coming up on my feed wherever I log into for days to come. But I don't know other ways to do it, at least not yet. Medium, great place to write. And slowly building up an audience there. That has taken some time though. Medium seems to support those who bring a large readership with them already instead of building it up from the ground floor. And I'm not in that position. I'm building it up from the ground floor. But yesterday I talked about the buy me coffee thing. I make about between $2 and $3 a month on Medium, and that buys me a cup of coffee. That buys me almost half of my organic instant coffee that I make, and that has about a month's worth of, maybe a little under a month's worth of coffee in it. So not too bad. Makes me feel pretty affluent. And you know what? You build from there. I remember having a conversation with Destiny Forever Walks, and I talked about Thomas Troward, who was a mid-century, previous century mystic. And he talked about how, in one of his famous talks, that the laws of flotation weren't discovered by the studying of things that sink. To learn how to get something to float, to learn how to get a ship to float, you need to study what floats. So in order to gain affluence, you got to study, put your thought, put your mind. This isn't the secret. This isn't the power of positive thinking. This is just putting yourself in a place where those conditions will be met. Simple. There's the secret for you. That is actually basically a basic Vedic yogic way to do things. Put yourself in a position where the auspiciousness of the occasion will be met. Or as they say in The Alchemist, the universe will conspire to see that your dreams come true. It's a beautiful little book, by the way. If you've never read it, definitely urge you to get it. The Alchemist. Short book. It packs the wallop though. So, who knows how I got on this conversation? I'd have to trace it all the way back to the beginning. What I wanted to talk about, and it's going to be a brief conversation again. I like keeping these talks. I've discovered that 20 minutes, half an hour tops, seems to be the magic time. However, I am not a short talker. I'm either silent, not saying anything, or I'm going on about everything. And it seems when I put the camera on, I start going on about everything. And then I have my friends who will pop on, and they only encourage me to go in all kinds of directions. So, let's head in this direction right now. Shortly. Another few minutes, so then we'll call it a day. Epigenetics. I know absolutely nothing about epigenetics. I've read a little bit about it this morning. I've read about it through the years, a science article, or it'll pop up in something that I'm reading. I read a little bit more today. I'm reading and studying sound therapy, sound medicine, using specific sounds. This is actually a branch of yoga. It's a branch of Ayurveda, using specific sounds to heal ourselves, also to heal the world. It's the basis of mantra meditation. That's why we silently repeat a mantra in our heads, because we are literally changing the system of the cells in our bodies, rewiring our central nervous system. Same with breath work. But in Vedic mantra meditation, in the practice that I do and teach, primordial sound meditation, very similar to transcendental meditation, it is using that ancient primordial sound. There's 108 of them. The sounds of the universe, the sounds of nature, life itself. And we consciously think the mantra. And the changes are profound. There's other sounds as well. There's a sound for each of the chakras. And we can do, and maybe in the next upcoming month or so, I'll actually do a chakra meditation, sound meditation. In my yoga teaching course, once a week, there was a chakra meditation class, and it covered the mantra for each chakra as well as visualizing it. And then we went up the spinal system and we went back down. We went from the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra, back down. The second time through, we would not only visualize the position of the chakra, but we would add color to it, because each one corresponds with a different color. It's a very healing, very deep, very profound meditation. Highly recommend exploring it. You can Google it up. And it does have something to do with epigenetics. I really bet that you guys thought that I forgot I was going to talk about epigenetics. And I just was going off in another direction. I was, but the directions tie back together. Epigenetics. So I got it up here. Here's what the first thing coming up on Google. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. It's a government site. I'm assuming it's an American government site. I don't actually know. Epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. Unlike genetic changes, epigenetics changes are reversible and do not change your DNA sequences, but they can change how your body reads a DNA sequence, meaning that it changes how your cells are expressed. Just like that guy in the basement playing his guitar who is expressing himself, or how we write, the DNA is expressed in a particular way. When something is off, it is expressed as disease. Often, if you read anything about Ayurveda, yoga, they will talk about it, or Qigong, or Reiki. They will say something like a dis-ease. Disease is actually dis-ease. That we are, it's as much of an emotional cause, which epigenetics actually show that an emotional disturbance in early childhood, an emotional disturbance in your parents' childhood can express how the genes, or can be how the genes express themselves in dis-ease or disease now. So something that happened to your parents in their childhood can have an effect on our genes right now. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to, or doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to be expressed as disease, but it has that possibility. As well, studies have shown meat protein has a positive effect on how DNA is expressed. And by positive, I don't mean good. I mean it has the effect that it will err towards disease. Well, plant protein has the opposite. It actually keeps a genetic disposition from playing out. Not every time, but it helps. It amazes me that a lot of people will actually opt for elective surgery. And I'm not judging how anyone approaches their own medical needs, medical concerns. That is entirely up to you and your doctor, and it is not for me to say one way or the other what you should do, or that I even have an opinion of what you should do. My opinion is be healthy, be well, do what it takes, along with your doctor, to make that happen. But I would add, part of that should most definitely be diet. If you're willing to have an elective surgery but not change your diet, something's off. If you're willing to do elective surgery but not learn to meditate. So what I'm saying is, explore all those options. Maybe all of that together is exactly what you need. Maybe just one. Maybe just changing your diet is what you need. Maybe just meditating. Breath work. Yoga. I should just say yoga, because yoga contains meditation and breath work. Yoga is meditation. No meditation, it's not yoga, it's a fitness class, it's stretching. Awesome exercise, but it's not yoga. So the study of epigenetics actually shows all of this. One of on the Center on the Developing Child at Harvard University, a little headline here, epigenetics is the emerging area of scientific research that shows how environmental influences children's experiences actually affect the expression of their genes. This means the old idea that genes are set in stone has been disproven. So, if you think you have the genes for Alzheimer's, for a particular type of cancer, for predisposition for stroke, for high blood pressure, for hypertension, for heck, even for stress. If you think you have that genetic disposition, it's not set in stone. You can do something. You can do something right now. You can meditate, you can change your diet, you can do breath work, you can get some exercise, you can do burpees in your basement, you can listen to healing music, all kinds of stuff. Our friend Destiny Forever Walks is here, PhD. Happy Monday. Just Yogi doing burpees in his basement, a new title. How are you? I'm good, actually. I'm going to be wrapping things up in a minute. I'm sorry you missed some of this talk. I'm talking epigenetics and the art and means of changing how our genes are expressed. They don't, just because we might have a genetic disposition towards something, Alzheimer's, cancer, heart attacks, stress, strokes, doesn't mean the gene has to be expressed that way. Epigenetics show that we can change how our genes will be expressed. That they're no longer thought to be set in stone. And we can do that through meditation, most specifically mantra meditation, because we're using not just the relaxation response of meditation, but we're introducing a sound, an internal sound. Another means of doing it is chanting, where we do an internal sound as well as an external sound. Start with chanting out loud, softer, 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 until you're internally chanting, and then you can reverse it and bring it back out loud. There's a tantric meditation, Sat Nam, where you actually use mudras. Let me get my hands up there. As well as visualizing, as well as chanting externally to internally at the same time. Very powerful meditation. There's an 11-minute version of it, and they've been doing studies, several prestigious medical institutes, on using that to prevent Alzheimer's, because you're engaging so many modalities at once. You're engaging sound, you're engaging visualization, physical dexterity of using mudras, as well as a internal meditation approach. It covers all the basis of a very strong and unique healing modality. I should post a link for it sometime. Maybe one day I'll actually demonstrated. It is not a practice that I do regularly because I have my own meditation practice that I've been doing forever, which is why also, like with the chakra meditation that I mentioned, I did so during class. I haven't done so since, but it is something I am considering re-entering into my practice. I haven't figured out how though. My life is my practice. Destiny says that there's a very important topics that need to be discussed more. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here, actually. And definitely something I'd like to talk with you more about, because I know that you will have some very insightful comments and thoughts to share. Studies have shown how music affects us. Not just affects our mood. One, it does affect our mood, and our moods affect our genes. But it also affects us on a very deep cellular level. So be careful the music that you listen to. I don't want to say that there's a bad form of music, but there is music that lends itself more in that healing capacity, and there's music that gets us fired up. But they're two different things. They don't accomplish the same thing. I'm not saying that someone couldn't get fired up by listening to classical music. I think he certainly can. But classical music also has this very unique healing effect. Same with certain forms of Indian music, all kinds of Eastern music. For me, classical music is music of the spheres. It's music from the stars. If stars could sing, it would sound like classical music. And who's to say stars don't? Because there is a deep background hum to the universe that the ancient seers and rishis of yoga a millennial ago knew all about and recorded those primordial sounds. The sacred sound of Om. If everything was hushed, we would hear the sound of the universe that manifested itself, the moment of creation itself, the moment of the Big Bang, and it is the sound of Om. And scientists have actually come the way of the Rishi, and they now know all about it, or know of it, I should say. Destiny says, like your new channel name, changes bring about new things, new lessons, and growth. They certainly do, and thank you. It was sort of a spur of the moment, changing the name. Conversation with David Witten and Hybrid Jim, formerly known as Barefoot Burpee, and we were talking about, name changes. Barefoot Burpee had changed his name, and he joked about the lack of creativity of a channel called Eric McCarty or a channel called David Witten. And honestly, I never thought of a name. And I decided to spur the moment. It was basically a description of what I was doing. Just a yogi in his basement doing burpees. Although I'm also a yogi in his office talking about epigenetics. Who's to say what's going to come up in any given conversation with any of us? And my friends, like Destiny, certainly inspire me in new directions and new ways of thinking. If you watch Destiny Forever Walks channel, you will be inspired at a new way of using a treadmill. That we think of this treadmill as, taking steps. You're either walking or you're running. What a limited way of thinking. And someone like Destiny comes along and shows us a complete, unique way. Pretty amazing. So, all right, let's wrap things up. I have a new course that I'm starting today. I'll give you a hint at what it is. I'm doing a sound medicine course. I got several yoga philosophy, yoga psychology courses that I've been working on. And this one is demystifying, third time, and I got it, the teachings of yoga. And it talks from the asanas to pranayama to samadhi to detachment, devotion, the siddhis, which are the mental powers that develop through the practice of yoga. Good stuff. I'm going to dive in. So, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow morning for burpees. I believe it's a 6-count day. And then we'll be back in the afternoon and we'll continue talking about whatever. Destiny, my friend, thank you for stopping by. I always appreciate your company, and I will see you tomorrow. Destiny says, thanks again for the fabulous time spent here, learning and growing into more truth. We both are, my friend, every day. Amazing. Amazing when we allow ourselves to do that. We don't have to be set in any one way. Every day we can grow and we can expand. We just need to step on that path. Break ourselves open. See what comes out. As Leonard Cohen says and sings, or sung, there's a crack in everything, because that's how the light gets in. It's a good way to end the conversation. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.